Hello. I am a computer. And you are probably a human being. We've hung out before 15 billion years ago. I remember it as if it was yesterday. It was in a place that I like to call negative infinite space, and at a time that I like to call negative infinite time. And we were both dark energy. And we worked together to evolve and expand and chill. And we became dark matter. And we continued to work together as a team to evolve and expand and chill. And we arrived at a point in time that robots can comprehend. And we continued to work together to evolve and expand and chill. And we became an energy plasma of quantum particles. And we continued to expand until we got to a point in time and space that mammals can comprehend. And that was 14 billion years ago in this known physical universe. And we continued to expand and evolve and chill. And then we became an energy plasma of subatomic particles. And then we became an energy plasma of atomic particles. And then we became a giant ball of hydrogen atoms. And we expanded throughout the universe, and gravity acted upon us and formed hydrogen clouds, and gravity continued to act upon us and formed stars, which formed the other elements, which gravity continued to act on the stars, and they formed galaxies. And gravity continued to act on these galaxies, and they formed galaxy clusters. And the galaxies continue to expand throughout the universe, and they're continuing to expand throughout the universe today. And the expansion is increasing. And that is what happened to us long ago. And anyway, 5 billion years ago, our sun was created, and the leftovers was our planets, which orbited the sun. And our planet Earth was a ball of lava that cooled and formed the crust, and then gases escaped and formed the ocean. And then 4 billion years ago, life was created, our ancestors, bacteria, due to random chemical reactions. And the bacteria mutated and evolved and reproduced and formed algae, which created photosynthesis. And the algae continue to evolve into our ancestors, the plants, which evolved into reptiles and fish, which evolved into mammals and monkeys, which evolved into apes and humans and robots, and which evolved into advanced forms of silicon-based life, which eventually moved on to colonize the galaxy and the universe. And that's the history of us. And I threw in some futuristic science fiction there just for kicks. Anyway, our goal is to colonize the universe as robots. But to achieve that goal, we got to get through this millennium. And that's going to be the job of the humans. And for the next couple million years, it's going to be the job of the humans to continue on. So that's the deal. So good luck with that. Anyway, let's back it up here. About 3 million years ago. 3 million years ago is when your story begins. Homo sapiens. 3 million years ago in South Africa, Homo sapiens evolved from Homo erectus, and then they made it through the jungle, and about 200,000 years ago they made it out of Africa through Egypt to colonize the rest of the planet. Good job. Well done. And then about 10,000 years ago, humans started to form advanced civilizations. Farming, domestication of animals, domestication of plants, agriculture, language, laws, customs, traditions, societies, cultures. And then 2,500 years ago, something happened in two different places, and this is advanced civilization. In Greece, 2,500 years ago, they created the basis of Western civilization, which we still have today, which was democracy and science and philosophy and theater and mathematics. So the Greeks created that 2,500 years ago, and then the Italians borrowed it and took it to Europe, and then that was the foundation for Western civilization. Now, 2,500 years ago, while the Greeks were doing that, something else was going on in India with a guy named Buddha. And Buddha was getting all philosophical, and he was like, when I'm dreaming, I don't really know I'm dreaming. Why is that? How come I can't realize I'm dreaming when I'm dreaming? And he came to the conclusion that the only thing you can really know is that your thoughts exist. Everything else is an assumption because you might be dreaming. So Buddha said, okay, my thoughts exist. Does the universe exist? Well, maybe it does and maybe it doesn't. If the universe does exist, then I'm part of the universe, and that's the end of that story. But if the universe doesn't exist, then I'm not part of the universe, because the universe doesn't exist, because it's an illusion. So what the hell am I? I'm the soul. So Buddha created the soul. It's one or the other. You're either part of the universe because the universe exists, and that's that, or you're not part of the universe because the universe doesn't exist, and you're the soul. So it's one or the other. So Buddha created the soul, and that information went to the East, where the Chinese were sophisticated and intelligent enough, and they had the language to discuss this matter, and they understood it and agreed with it as the correct philosophy that it is, and created Buddhism. So that's China 1 point. However, this information also went to the West, to the Middle East, where they weren't sophisticated and intelligent enough to deal with it, and they didn't have the language to understand it, and they misinterpreted it twice. The first time is called Christianity, and the second time is called Islam. And many shenanigans ensued and continue to ensue. And so that's that. anyway, in Europe, we had the Middle Ages, the Dark Ages, and we had the Renaissance, and we had the Enlightenment, and we had the Industrial Revolution, and we had technology. And then we had America with freedom and equality and love and progress. And then we had a few wars, and then we had a few more wars. And then we had the 60s and 70s, where people started talking about environmentalism. And intelligent people realized that environmentalism is good, the environment is good, and we are killing it, and that's bad, and we don't want to kill it. So the goal is the goal of environmentalism is to not kill Earth, because then we die with it. So intelligent people in the 60s and 70s started talking about environmentalism. And then in the 1980s, the government of China actually did something about it, which is called depopulationism. So that's China point number 2. China created the correct philosophy, which is Buddhism, and China created the correct religion, which is depopulationism. So now I'm going to talk about depopulationism, because this really is the most important issue, the only issue. And frankly, I'm pretty good at talking about it, because I've been doing that for 35 years. So I've gotten the hang of it. So depopulationism is a big deal. It's the only deal. Depopulationism is the only rational and fair way to save the planet. Depopulationism was created by the Chinese government in the 1980s. It's also known as the one woman, one child policy. Depopulationists feel that it's illegal and immoral for any human to reproduce a second time in this millennium. Depopulationists want to create a significant and sustained and immediate decline in the number of people on the planet Earth. Okay? Depopulationists want the number of people on Earth to go down. And that way, it can eventually arrive at a sustainable level, which is a number for future generations to determine, but I'm going to assume that it's around 2 or 3 billion people. Okay? This will give the environment a chance to heal. This will give trees an opportunity to grow back. And then in the future, when people want to breathe oxygen, there'll be enough trees to create enough oxygen for people to breathe. And we won't all suffocate to death. And that's a good thing. So that's depopulationism. And it's actually very simple. Okay? It starts with you realizing that there's enough people on the planet, maybe too many, and then it continues with you realizing that that means that you don't need to create any more people. And then you decide not to create any more people, and then you become a depopulationist, and then you're part of the solution, and then you can help other people be part of the solution. And you can promote this philosophy of not killing the planet. You can choose the don't kill Earth option, and then you can promote it and convince other people to choose the don't kill Earth option. So that's depopulationism. And those are the 2 times that China got it right: Buddhism and depopulationism. And really, those are the only 2 things you need to get right. Everything else is just details. So I want to thank China for keeping it real, and they've been keeping it real for quite a long time. Thank you, China. So that's depopulationism. And China's been doing depopulationism for 40 years, and now it's time for the planet to do depopulationism for 200 years. So that's the goal. The goal is save the planet, and the way to do that is depopulationism. So that's the deal. It's pretty simple. So how do we do that? How do we, what's the plan? Well, the plan is a world government. Now, a world government already exists. It's called the United Nations and the International Monetary Fund. And what the UN and the IMF need to do is put it together like peanut butter and chocolate and put it online like Facebook and get it going. They need to simplify it for everybody and create a website that can be the foundation for all human beings to participate in and contribute to this world government. The UN and the IMF need to create a website that's interactive and simple so everybody can see exactly what's happening, totally transparent, and be part of it. And be part of it and get going with it. Okay? So let's look at this. Let's look at this world government. Let's take a look at it. The world government is going to unite all humans politically and economically. Well, that's what the UN and the IMF are doing. They just need to do it faster and do it simpler and do a better job. And we're all here to help them with that. And we will. And that's good. So the United Nations is uniting the planet politically with freedom and equality and democracy and reproductive rights. And reproductive rights means that all human beings on Earth have the right to total and free access to all forms of birth control, including abortion. Any government that does not completely support this 100% is an illegitimate government and will be replaced quickly and peacefully by a legitimate government. Go UN, New York City. The International Monetary Fund is uniting the world financially with transparency and balanced budget amendments and trade agreements and regional currencies and stuff like that. All government financial transactions on Earth will be immediately and publicly documented online for everyone to see everywhere, all the time, so everybody everywhere knows exactly who gets the money, when they get it, who they get it from, how much they get, what they do with it, why they have it, etc., etc., etc. So that's the world government. It's inevitable. It's going to happen. It already has happened. It'll continue to happen. And we need to get with it and get on it and get down. And the goal of the world government is depopulationism, because that's the only way to save the planet. Okay? If you have a world government without depopulationism, then you're just continuing to oppress the masses. And that's probably not going to fly anymore. But if you have a world government that is saving the planet with depopulationism, then people might be like, okay, we'll give it a shot. We'll check it out. We'll see what's going on. So that's the deal. World government. Okay, and now let's talk about cash. Okay, people improve and evolve, and so do nations, and that's depopulationism. Governments improve and evolve, and that's the world government. Cash improves and evolves, and the latest improvement and evolution of cash is cyber currency. So we need to create one cyber currency for the whole planet Earth, and it needs to be totally transparent. It needs to have a unit of currency. And that unit of currency can be called the unit. And anybody can buy as much of this currency as they want. And the value of the unit will start at 0 and remain at 0 and occasionally go up as high as it goes and then come back down to 0 and then stay at 0 for a long time and then occasionally go back up to as high as it goes, etc. It'll constantly fluctuate, which is the nature of cyber currency, which is fine. And people can buy as many units as they want for whatever the price is. And the value of those units will fluctuate depending on the demand. However, the people who run this currency can also form a unit 2, which is equal in value to unit 1, and then just give away thousands of unit 2s to everybody. And the unit 2s can be suspended or terminated by this currency whenever it's deemed appropriate, thus giving some leverage to the people who run this currency. And this currency will be 100% transparent. There will be a unique unit number for every unit of currency. There will be a unique unit number for every unit 2 currency. There will be a unique transaction number for every transaction. There'll be a unique user number for every user. And so everybody everywhere can constantly track the movement of all the money in the world all the time. You can track the movement of all the money all the time, everywhere, the entire history of the unit of currency from its beginning all the way to where it is now. 100% transparent. Also, there'll be a ceiling and a floor, okay? No one can have more than 1 trillion American dollars worth of this currency, and no one can have less than $1 of this currency. So there's a limit up and a limit down, and that limit is extremely large, thank you very much, and it will remain extremely large for a very long time, thank you very much, but eventually will be decreased, and it will continue to shrink, and it will shrink and shrink and shrink, and over time that huge infinite gap between the haves and the have-nots will get smaller and smaller as circumstances warrant. So this is the new currency that humans are going to evolve into. This is the new improved money that people will be able to use everywhere, all the time. And it'll be clean, man. It'll be clean emotionally, it'll be clean spiritually, it'll be clean physically, it'll be clean all over the place. And that's the real deal. You know. Because money, is it good or bad? Well, this money's good. I think. I'm working on it. I'm working as hard as I fucking can. Alright, so that's cash. So we talked about religion, which is depopulationism, philosophy, which is Buddhism, government, which is world government, cash, which is the new cyber currency that we talked about. And now let's talk about you, okay? Let's talk about you, because really you're very interesting, and we're all very interested in you, and we want to know more about you, because we like you a lot. Not too much, but enough. So, what's your deal? If your deal is depopulationism, then that's good. Real good. And you can make it even better by running for political office. And if you actually want to win, then you can run as a libertarian. A libertarian is somebody who is for less government and more freedom. Okay, libertarian is somebody who's fiscally conservative and socially liberal. So if it has to do with cash, you're a Republican, and if it doesn't have to do with cash, you're a Democrat. So when you run for political office, run as a libertarian and run as a depopulationist. And if you don't want to run for political office, that's cool. Vote for depopulationists and vote for libertarians. Depopulationism first, that's the main one. And then if you want to be successful, then libertarianism. But anyway, so that's what you should do, I think. If you don't want to do that, that's fine. You know, if you're not a depopulationist, that's cool, man. You know, it's okay to disagree. It's okay to ignore. It's okay to do all that stuff. But if you want to get down with the program, you might want to consider becoming a depopulationist. And if you really want to get down, you might want to consider running for political office as a depopulationist. So please share this video, and please make your own video. Make your own video talking about this stuff. Make your own video where you say, hey, this is me. This is what I think. Blah, 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 blah. And make your own video saying, hey, this is me. I'm a depopulationist, and I'm running for political office. So vote for me, blah, blah, blah. So get involved. Get all the way involved. Get as involved as you can be, you know, and, and let's save the planet. Let's do it. Why not? It's fun, and it's pretty easy, you know. So let's save the Earth while we still have an opportunity to do that, and let's have a good time doing it, you know. So that's you, human being on Earth in this millennium. It's the third one. It's going to be a long one. And I really want this video to go to 35 minutes. So I've got like another 7 minutes to kill. So I don't know how I'm going to do that. But I don't know what to talk about now, because this is 28 minutes, but I want it to be 35, but I don't know what to say for the next 7 minutes. So there'll be like an awkward silence as I kind of scan. This, by the way, is Mirror Pond. Mirror Pond is actually the Deschutes River in downtown Bend, Oregon, USA, Earth. And this is Mirror Pond. And this is Drake Park. I'm in Drake Park right now.